Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Stuck3. Hello everybody. I would have made this video a bit sooner, but as some of you who've been on Twitter and stuff will know, I've been feeling like ass this entire week, so, you know, whatever, but there you go. This is why this is not coming out on Friday. But with the release of Zelda Breath of the Wild this week, and the sheer volume of perfect scores that the game has received, I feel it's time to actually bring forward the rant, which is about game ratings and scores in general, actually, because it happens in films, it happens in music, it happens in games, it's books. It's always the stupid notion that you can grade a game at a 5 or 10 or 20 or 100 or whatever. And the big issue which I'm seeing at the moment is I don't mind if you're getting a rating of 5 out of 5. If you haven't got the concept of half points, then you're not exactly going to be able to dock it a whole point based on one thing. Because 4 out of 5, 80%, isn't necessarily a good way of doing it. The same thing comes for ratings of 10. Again, if you don't have a concept of a half. Because, again, there may be issues, but they may not warrant an entire point being docked. So, you get things like, this is 5 out of 5, however, there are these flaws in the game. This game is 10 out of 10, but the performance is a little bit weaker on this sort of machine. And those, I'm not too annoyed about those, because, like I said, you've only got a certain area to play with, and honestly I don't think that if you consider how many criteria there could be for judging a game or a film or whatever, then I think docking at a whole point sometimes just isn't worth it. The big issue I have is when you've got a rating system out of 100, and you have some complaints about the object you're reviewing, but you still give it a 100% score. I don't think there's anything in existence, because if we're talking percentages, 100 out of 100 is a 100% perfect score. I don't think there's any form of medium in existence which contains a perfect. It's perfect. There's nothing here that's perfect. Like, if we would go to OpenCritic, I think the highest scoring game at the moment is Zelda Breath of the Wild at 97%, with a ton, I mean a metric fuckload of 100s out of 100. And these people are also complaining about performance issues. Well, if it's a performance issue, it's not 100%. It's not 100 out of 100. There's a performance issue. Surely that's a couple percentage points off. At best, I'd say it'd be 98. If it's not performing well on the one... Oh, it's actually got 2 pieces of hardware. If it's not performing on the 2 pieces of hardware they developed it for, the Wii U and the Switch. If there's a performance problem, it's not 100% score. It's not a perfect game. Not 100% perfect. There is no such thing as a perfect form of entertainment. There are no books, there are no movies, there's no CD, there's no bloody game which is 100% perfect. And this is what's pissing me off. You have people that go, oh, this game is the best game ever, but it has this problem 100%. No. It has a problem. Therefore, you dock it points. You dock it some fucking point. I don't know. Dock it. Take points off. Take some fucking points off the thing. I think Deus Ex is possibly one of the greatest games ever. I really wish I was actually recording my face for this, because I'm making some amazing fucking movements. It's Deus Ex. I feel the original Deus Ex, not Human Evolution, is one of the best games ever created, ever. And you guys can hold me to that. I think it is a masterpiece of game design, writing, everything. But I would still not give it 100%. Because there are flaws. There are flaws. There are AI flaws. There are flaws in some of the level design. The level design is fucking amazing. But there are still some flaws in it. And people that tried to fix it ended up doing a worse job, which is a shame with Deus Ex Revision. It's a shame, because Deus Ex Revision is actually really good too, but Deus Ex is still better than it. Eidos had a pure gem on their hands with Deus Ex. I think Time Splitters 2 is possibly one of the greatest multiplayer games ever made. And you can hold me to that. I think it's one of the greatest multiplayer games ever made. Still wouldn't give it 100%. You guys can say what you want about like my grading criteria, and I know that the thing about reviewing is it's very difficult to be 100% objective, and there's gonna be bias, and it's all opinion. But if you're telling me that, I don't know, something is 100%, I am expecting it to run perfectly on every system. I am expecting the writing to be god tier. I'm expecting there to be no graphical bugs. I'm expecting the graphics to be fucking amazing. The sound design on point. Level design on point. Like, there are, in a 100 out of 100 game, there are allowed to be no bugs. Not one. There is not meant to be a single bug in that code. There are no graphical bugs, there are no sound bugs, there are no slightly off cues. The lip syncing is perfect, the writing is perfect, there's not a single bit in that game that I would change. And they don't fucking exist. There's nothing in this world that exists. And the highest rated games on OpenCritic, I believe the top 5 at this point in time are Breath of the Wild, the new Zelda, GTA 5. So Breath of the Wild was 97, GTA 5 was 96. And then there was Flower? Like, there's only like 5 people that have reviewed, 5 like journalists that have reviewed that, but then there was The Last of Us. Again, oversold like you wouldn't fucking believe. The number of people that gave that hundreds need the fucking eyes checked, because that game was not a 100% game. I would be hard pushed to give that a game. After the first 15 minutes, I wouldn't give it anything past 90. At best. At best, The Last of Us is a 90. If we're being completely objective, The Last of Us is an 80. Like 80, let's say 83. 83%. There are graphical bugs, there are sound bugs, the AI is fucking ridiculous. The fact that they had to code it in so that the enemy doesn't register Ellie kind of shows in itself how shit the AI was in that game. The story is kind of, I don't know. I would admit The Last of Us had one of the best first 15 minutes of the game I'd ever encountered. That emotional roller coaster that was the first 15 minutes of The Last of Us. If you don't play any more of the game, seriously play that first 15 minutes. Fucking amazing. And I think that the 5th at the moment is Journey. Again, oversold, indie, again, not perfect. And it's pretty ridiculous, especially when you look at the scores for 2017 alone. We're currently in March, and there've been a fair few releases actually. And the highest rated game is Breath of the Wild, and 97. And the second highest rated game, I think, was Nioh at 88. That's a goal. That's a 9-point gap, and Nioh is a really well made game. I am really enjoying Nioh. It is such a good game. Again, I kind of feel the scores are fair. 88. It's pretty difficult. Some of the enemies do get repetitive, but when you sort of learn things, you're fine. I admit, but I think Nioh is probably a high 80s game. At a push low 90s, but a high 80s game, and the journalists seem to agree with that. The players also seem to agree, which is good. But I go on the basis of, if your publication, your website, your magazine, whatever the fuck have you, and you're throwing around 100 out of 100 scores, like, I actually have a very hard time taking your publication seriously. I don't think there's a way of taking your website or whatever seriously, just because 100 out of 100 implies that you think it's perfect, and there's no such thing. I've said this several times. There's no such thing as perfect. And if you're trying to tell me that this game is perfect, it is 100% perfect, must own it. I would say anything over an 80 is definitely something you should play. Anything over a 90 is most definitely something you should probably buy. because, you know, it's a must-buy. A 90 or above is a must-buy. I'd probably go with the new Zelda. It's a new Zelda. It's fucking Zelda. Why am I even arguing? It's Zelda. Of course Zelda's going to have a fucking perfect score, isn't it? You're going to have perfect scores all over the board. Fucking Jesus Christ, man. Jesus, why? The fuck is with the hype of Zelda? Can we not have a bad Zelda game? I'm seeing people who've given it 10 out of 10 and are complaining about the open world aspect. I'm seeing people who are giving it high scores and complaining about the performance aspect. Like, all these people who are giving it stupidly high scores are just giving it high scores because it's fucking Zelda on a new Nintendo console. Stop fucking Nintendo. Stop bending over and Nintendo do whatever the fuck it wants to, because, frankly, Nintendo are fucking dicks. And, you know, just giving them high scores just because it's Zelda. Oh, you've made a new Zelda game. Congratulations. Every fucking generation of console, they bring out at least 2 Zelda fucking games. And I admit, they're always fucking good. But there's always a flaw. But everyone's bumming the shit out of Nintendo, going, oh, Nintendo, you're giving me such good games. It's ridiculous. It is actually fucking ridiculous. Meanwhile, Sony, everyone seems to have a hate boner for Microsoft and Sony. Understandably for Sony, because they are releasing some shit nowadays. But they have a hate boner for Sony and Microsoft. And then they have a fucking raging erection must fillet the shit out of Nintendo and indies. Oh my god. People can't have shit versions. You can't have a bad thing about a Zelda game. No. But anyway, my point about the fucking publications who give 100%, I can't take you seriously. I would honestly take you more seriously if you gave things like 97s and 96s. I can understand that. But there's always going to be a flaw. There's no such thing in existence to get to 100%. And I'd say for a lot of the things that would dock points, I don't know if there's a 99% out there. Because if you look at things majorly hardcore, there's generally something wrong with the game. Generally something. There's generally something in there. If you look hard enough, that's not going to be perfect here. Neo, the storyline's kind of bleh. It's kind of crap, but the gameplay is fucking amazing. And it punishes. It's like the Souls, any Souls game. It'll punish you because you're not doing the mechanics correctly. That's fine. I'd say high 80s for that game, because the storyline the storyline for a lot of games is probably a big thing. But in terms of actually grading a game, I think for a good game you only need 2 out of 3 criteria. You need to have good gameplay. You need to here are the 3 criteria. You need 2 of them. Good gameplay, good style. So that style comes down to anything like graphics, like move set style sort of thing, sound design. I think style is kind of a large and broad sweeping thing. And then the 3rd criteria would be storyline, or story, or writing in general. If you can get 2 of those, generally you're onto a winner. I can put up with bad controls if the game is stylish as all fuck and the writing is on point. I can deal with that. I wouldn't get over a 90, but I can deal with it. And you have had some really damn good games which are stylish and handle really well, but the storyline is crap. Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance. Oh my god, the story in that is terrible, but the gameplay and the style? Oh, there are very few games in this world where you feel like such a badass as you do playing Raiden, but that game has it. I'd say Metal Gear Rising is a really high 80s, just because it has a relatively bad storyline. But on the whole, look, some of these guys, there are people that gave Metal Gear Rising 9 out of 10, and that's fine. I don't think Metal Gear Rising, by any stretch of imagination, would have been 10 out of 10. But this is where my point lies in the grand scheme. I know it's all subjective, and I know what I have 3 criteria, and if you meet 2, you're probably on to winner. That's my opinion. But with a lot of the reviewers, journalists in general, anyone that's willing to give a 100% score, I don't think has thought about it enough. They're tinted, they're either bought off. Nintendo could have given them a fucking Switch with Breath of the Wild, for all we know. Are they going to disclose it? Fuck off, are they going to disclose it? We haven't disclosed shit for years. Fucking it has been years since anyone has properly trusted the games media. They're not going to disclose shit. They're not going to tell you objective fucking scores. They're going to dock points because it doesn't fit the fucking ideological bias. So does that mean that someone's giving Breath of the Wild a fucking a 100% score because it fits their ideological bias, or have they looked past that? That's my big question about a lot of this shit. What are you not telling me? You're not telling me some stuff, and there's something there which is skewing your fucking idea of what the game is, and you're not telling me. Do you know someone who works for Nintendo? Are you going to tell me? Fuck off, are you going to tell me? You're not going to tell me shit. The less I know, the more I'm going to believe what you've written is completely unbiased and completely fine, and you don't know anyone in the industry that's trying to buy you off or anything like that. I don't believe that. I think everyone's got a bias. Everyone's got a bias. Everyone's got something going on behind them. Christ, I have a major thing for Final Fantasy. I wouldn't trust most of my reviews for a Final Fantasy game. I'm pretty harsh on some of them, but I wouldn't give Final Fantasy 8 lower than 80%. Not 8. 13 lower than 80%. It's still a damn fine game. Tarnished the Final Fantasy franchise, but it's a damn fine game. There you go. I went off on a major rant against journalists in general. I just meant to go against like 100 out of 100 scores. But I think if you're ever considering writing for a publication and you're giving 100 out of 100, there better be nothing wrong with that fucking game. Not a thing. Nothing. It had better be like a fucking unicorn ate a rainbow, and then it had a rainbow-coloured rainbow turd, so it had like 2 rainbows on it, with a pot of gold inside of it by the fucking leprechaun that had just fucked the unicorn. Like, that's how good that game had better be for it to receive 100 out of 100. A shit rainbow shit. A rainbow-coloured rainbow shit with pots of gold with leprechaun jizz in it because of the fucking of the unicorn. That's how good that game has to be. That good. I swear, if I had a bigger fan base, I really want to see someone draw a picture of a leprechaun fucking a unicorn that's shitting out a rainbow-coloured rainbow turd. But I don't think that's ever going to happen. But if it does happen, please let me know, because that'd be fucking amazing. There you go. If you guys agree or disagree with what I'm saying in this, please let me know in the comments down below. Hit that like or dislike if you liked or disliked this video. But again, as I say with every video, if you dislike the video, please let me know in the comments why you disliked it, and please make it productive. You know, I'd rather have constructive criticism than you suck, because that doesn't tell me shit. It doesn't tell me shit or rainbow shit. So there you go. If you are new to this channel and you do like what you see, please do click that subscribe button. Always does have more of you guys tuning in. And I think that's about it. So have a very good evening, morning, afternoon, or night, wherever you may be. And I will see you all in the next video. Bye bye.